What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another review. This review, hello, Mark.
Very special on the rosy cheek, Mark Ellis. What are we talking about?
Well, it's Thor, and if you clicked on the review, you would know that it was Thor.
Some people just get so excited about Thor Ragnarok,
Right.
they just click on the review and they're hoping they don't get spoiled, but this is the spoiler
review.
Heavy review. So
Right.
make sure you've seen Thor Ragnarok, or make sure you don't really care about knowing everything that happens, because we're getting deep into it.
Now, we're just going to have a conversation here about Thor Ragnarok, the spoilers. Now, just starting off right away from this thing, I thought that Taika Waititi did such a good job with, and I've said this, with the humor, but I think I was scared when it opened because...
So it's going to be too jokey.
Well, it was jokey, and then like there's been many movies, whether it's comedy or not, that have been treated their films like straight up music videos the whole time, whether it's Atomic Blonde or Suicide Squad. And I thought that when Zeppelin started playing and he's fighting in the beginning there and it started to get really jokey, I'm like, is this going to be the whole movie? Because if that was the whole movie, if the tone was like that the entire time, it would have been very tiresome.
Yeah, but I think I've been a little higher on the Thor movies than you have, the first two anyway.
But they weren't like that,
And
the first
this
two.
one, I think for anybody, if you're going in looking for laughs, you get what you paid for. What I was excited to see, though, too, is that there was hints from the trailers at like what Ragnarok was going to be like, because this is the Norse apocalypse, and the twist at the end where you had our good guys, our heroes, where you had Thor and Valkyrie and Loki kind of being a good guy, and Hulk, them actually being the ones that had to bring on the apocalypse. I thought it was a great twist. Like, the only way to defeat Cate Blanchett's Hela is actually we have to be the ones that summon this thing.
Ragnarok is essentially the thing that helps our heroes in the long run.
They had to sacrifice Asgard.
That's true.
Who would have thought that?
You go into it thinking it is the Armageddon, but it's actually a saving device. That is clever. But I think that a lot of different things that they did, and the way that they set up Thor, and they began, because remember the big hoopla, if you will, when we saw it, was Thor has short hair. Why? And they explained it. In the beginning of the movie, he's got his long hair, he's got the locks for a bit, and I like that he didn't go right away to Goldblum and the whole crew. It took a little bit of setup to get us there, and I thought how they got us there was cool. I thought the fact that they didn't spend too much time trying to set up, like, we're not going to find out Loki is what's his face for so long.
Odin, Anthony Hopkins.
Thank you. I've heard of him. And finally, we find that out, and he's getting fed grapes, and they had fun with it. And they didn't make him. They could have made him the ultimate bad guy again. I'm glad they didn't. They just made him Loki, the god of mischief.
But it's fun to never quite trust Loki, and Hiddleston does such a good job playing that we can't really give all of our faith to this guy because he's going to take it and he's going to run with it. So I love that he is all of a sudden trying to climb his way up this new land that is run by Jeff Goldblum, and then
Goldblum's so good.
Goldblum's great, and then that doesn't work out so well. I like that Goldblum was pitting Valkyrie and the other lady against each other a little bit, where there was like a friendly rivalry there. But Tessa Thompson, what an ass kicker, and then she also has some cheeky humor in there too.
Well, this is one of the things that I think that Marvel does so well, is set up new characters, new good guys. One of the things that they don't do great are villains. Now, Cate Blanchett,
how do you feel?
I thought as a character set up, the reveal, some people are going to have problems with the fact that she was Thor's sister, and I like that setup. I thought that was good. I thought it actually gave more depth to Odin. The fact that Odin wasn't always like an ultimate good guy. He had done some dark stuff in the past and realized it and banished his daughter.
Yeah.
I thought all that stuff was cool. But I thought that Hela basically fell into the same Marvel trap after a while. I thought that the reason, if you really look into it, the reason why she's so menacing and you're hooked to her towards the end is because it's Cate Blanchett. She's really not developed that well. It just seems to be an overall problem with Marvel.
See, I enjoy the mythology of her not only being the sister of Thor, but all the backstory as to like what she was to Odin when Odin
set up and then kind of thrown away. Though.
But I like that Odin is a guy who did what he felt like he had to do, and now more his sons and his daughter are paying the price for all of those moves, but
it was that setup. Go to that setup for a second,
but it's a little funny to me that like you have all this, you have all of this like underground layers in Asgard that nobody ever thought to go explore, like all these catacombs, because Odin is such a personable guy that he's like, nah, this is the basement. There's nothing underneath the basement.
But it was also covered up for the bunch of stuff too. If you are just a regular, if you're Carl Urban, you're not messing around in Odin's basement. It's like Odin. You stay away.
Yeah, Carl Urban is one thing. Zachary Levi, hey, I'm here. Good. I guess I'll become Shazam.
That's pretty much much what I thought. It's like when he.
It's like they heard he was going to become Shazam. They're like, well, you're not hanging around this movie.
I mean, they killed off all, and I bet you they would have killed Lady Sif the same way also if she had been available, if she wasn't doing Blindside.
Right. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
But I think that scene, the fact that Idris Elba got the hell out of there, and there was that Lord of the Rings feel that was pretty cool.
Happy to see him be the guy that was. I thought he was the perfect character choice to be taking care of all the Asgardians because I trust that he is a badass enough to be able to protect people. I trust that he's smart enough to hide everybody from Hela's wrath as long as he possibly can.
But I do want to go back to how we got and we found Odin, because we knew that Loki had kind of banished him on Earth, and we had to figure out how we're going to find him again. And when we do, we have to find him through Doctor Strange. And I like the way that they looped in that post-credit scene of Doctor Strange, that it just didn't seem like some throwaway post-credit scene. Now, when you go back and you watch it, it has relevance to Ragnarok, and it plays pretty well.
Doctor Strange, very powerful, man. You are going to need Doctor Strange on his A+ game to defeat Thanos.
Yeah, I think that Doctor Strange has started to do some... even from his movie, from where we see him, and Loki can't mess with him.
Yeah.
Thor can't mess with him. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Within one movie, he's a pretty powerful dude. But then we get to that scene to where Anthony Hopkins is having this great moment to where, like, oh no, is Odin crazy? He's not crazy. He just knows that his end is near. And when he finally goes,
he's kind of like Yoda, just like
you just
kind of slowly disappear into daffodil dust.
But that setup worked, and that's the stuff I liked what they did with Hela, because when she shows up and then she just smashes the hammer with ease, you're like, oh, this is going to be a devastating villain. And unfortunately, towards the end of it, not so much. But still, that particular scene was good. Another thing I thought that they threw away, though, was really good when Thor looks at Loki and he's like, this is your fault. They get into that moment. And then, I guess by the end of it, he realizes you're always going to do your thing. I'm always going to do my thing. I'm always going to blame you. I like that he called him out on that type of stuff, and he kind of figure out Loki's shtick. It took 3 movies to do it, but there was some repetitive stuff.
Yeah, but after this, I ain't inviting Loki anywhere. No. I'm like, I used you to help me bring about the apocalypse, which unfortunately destroyed our land, but it helped save our people, so that's fine. Right. Here's my big question, is that at the end of the movie, so we save everybody, oh, thank goodness we're done, and then there's this huge ship that overtakes the little ship that
Thanos' ship, I think.
Yeah, but it's like, so do we work this hard in Thor Ragnarok to save everybody? So now Thanos just going to press a button and destroy all these people?
We don't know
what's going to happen?
Look, you can also say the same thing. Is there only that amount of people on Asgard? That was the only place.
Pretty much that's all that's left.
But that's
unfortunately, that cute wolf dog that the Hulk fought.
They said we saved everyone. You did? Like on the whole planet?
I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't care what the fake news is. Most Asgardians did not survive.
That's what I'm saying. It was like, they should have made it a little more tragic. But let's go. Korg, played by Taika Waititi, was so
great,
funny in that he was so
funny. The voice fit the character
and when you hear him explain that he was based on these kind of New Zealand big bouncers with these tiny voices, and he's just the way the way that he delivers it, again, didn't just seem for the joke. It seemed like it fit who the character was. But it's when Thor got to the gladiator arena. I wish they wouldn't have set up the fact that it was the Hulk. I knew they kind of had to do that. But when the Hulk shows up and they have the fight and they still start kicking the crap out of one another for a while, and it just keeps going on, and then Jeff Goldblum said, well, he's actually going to beat the Hulk. Because when we see the God of Thunder turn into the God of Thunder, it's a great scene.
I like Thor realizing his powers. I love that fight scene. Then I thought everything about the Hulk was so good in this movie.
His lines.
From his matriculation, being like a 2-year-old that can kind of start to talk a little bit. And he can start to sort out his emotions. I thought one of the best jokes in this entire movie was Ruffalo towards the end, assuming he's going to turn into Hulk, when he jumps out and then he's about to attack.
And he just lands. And you knew he's not going to. And you knew he would. Like he went. It's for anybody who asks the question, why didn't he die then? Because he still got all the gamma. Remember when he said in, I think it was Ultron, when he'd stick a gun in his mouth and just spits it back up. Basically,
he's still got a lot of that.
Yeah, the gamma's not going to let that happen. So, so when he falls and bounces, you're right. That was great. But I think some of the lines that Buddy feel that the two of them had, they've always had, even when you go back to the Avengers, they've always had this kind of camaraderie. And when they had the conversation and Hulk's going, don't kick stuff, and he's playing handball in the back all pissed off, the Hulk talking was great, but the way that they infused the Bruce Banner character and the fact that he hadn't been Hulk for 2 years and asking, where's Tony, what's happening, all that stuff really played in. I thought he was one of the more characters, even though Banner's probably in it 15 minutes, maybe 20 combined, that he was developed pretty well in this movie.
Right. I think that one of the subplots that's probably going to get lost to a lot of people is that Valkyrie and Loki were both challenged by Goldblum's character, the Grand Master, to go find these two people, these escapees, and so they both had their individual strategies. And I think that Thompson's character arc here is something that it's going to fly under the radar a little bit, how she was Valkyrie, and then she tried to hide who she was. And Loki, to some extent, hiding who he is, having to embrace it. It seems like Loki's just going to embrace it as long as he needs to, but I really feel like we got a good Valkyrie going forward. So when Tessa
she shows up in the Avengers, I wonder if she will.
Yeah, I would love to see all these characters in Ultron, and obviously it appears that some huge ship is looming right there. And I fear for the rest of the Asgardians, for the 4% that survived the Ragnarok.
The trailer that we saw for the Avengers sets Thor out into space, and he lands on the Guardian
Meaning
ship.
somebody blew up all that crap,
Something
maybe?
happens, or he gets caught and thrown out. You know, who knows? But what they didn't show in that trailer, and they did it well, is that, you know, Thor loses an eye in this movie. Because, again, Hela takes his eye out, and so he... reflections of his father and everything. So, like, there's going to be that going for you. You can already see all the Tony Stark jokes that's going to happen with his eye and things of that nature. But I thought that was set up well. The end with the post-credit scene, there were two of them. One of them was the was the ship.
One of them was the ship,
and the other one was Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
I hope he survives. I hope that the Revolution doesn't take him out. I know, but he is related to the Collector.
Yeah.
So I hope that maybe there's something with Guardians 3 down the line. Maybe there's something in Avengers. I don't know, but whatever it might be, I like the way this all kind of sets up. I enjoy this movie very much. I had a lot of fun with it overall, and it was one of the more enjoyable movies that I've seen from Marvel in a little bit.
And let's look at this in the whole landscape of the MCU. I think some people might come out of this and say, well, that was a lot of laughter, and maybe I didn't get as much seriousness as I wanted to. Don't worry about that, because I think Black Panther is going to be a much more grounded Marvel movie where you're going to get to explore. You're going to have a lot more mystery. It's going to be a lot more of a serious film. And then you have Infinity War, which I'm sure is going to have its share of jokes in it, but that is such a serious topic that when we look at all these movies together, we're going to be happy that Taika Waititi gave us these laughs.
And it made me nervous, too, going into it for sure, because, like I said, I've made my concerns known about Guardians 2, and I think that there was this situation where the jokes and the humor overpowered the movie, as where I thought this fit the overall
everything
movie.
here hit, though. And, I'll even, as a fan of Guardians 2, I'll say this. I think that the humor, every stab they took at humor here hit hard, as opposed to other Marvel movies where usually it hits, but even the Thor movies, I know you weren't a fan of the Kat Dennings character like I was, but it's like, that humor was hit or miss. Here, everything is pretty much a knockout of the park.
Because the humor was smarter, to be honest with you. I think it was smart humor. I think that, again, is a credit to Taika Waititi. He's a very funny guy.
Yeah.
His instincts, sometimes you just have those instincts. He has those instincts. You can tell in all of his films, and he used it here. It's a natural gift that he has. So as the pacing happens, he can make this movie a comedy, yet still feel like a fantasy sci-fi film, because there are elements of this movie that feel like they're plucked right out of Lord of the Rings. And it doesn't feel like, oh, this is just a weird comedy now, because he knew when to do it. There were moments like you're talking about with Idris Elba when you don't throw jokes in there. You didn't need to throw a joke in there, because that's not what it was about. It's about protecting the people of Asgard, and he did that well. And that's the difference, I think, when people ask me, well, what's the difference? Because in Guardians, again, I felt in Guardians 2, they would just throw those jokes in any situation. It didn't matter what situation. For the serious, and as great as that Mary Poppins joke was, I think it was the best joke of the whole movie, it was still in the middle of a serious situation. It worked in that situation, but I'm just saying, you know, like, there was always a situation where the joke was thrown. Here, it was picking the punches and throwing them and hitting hard.
I walked out of the theater and I was thinking, well, you know what? That big dog, even though it was rude, it was against us. I bet it survived the waterfall. And then I was reminded that the planet blew up. So.
That's true. So you killed the dog.
Anyway, thank you guys for tuning into our Thor Ragnarok spoiler-heavy review. Now it's your turn. Click that like button and comment right now if you saw Thor Ragnarok, which we kind of hope you already have. What was your favorite part? What did you like? What didn't you like? Were you as big a fan of the movie as we were?
Check out our pals over at Stardust. The link is in the description. You check that out right now. I'm telling you, go and do it.
Don't forget to check out Stardust, the app that's been taking over the movie and TV community like crazy. We were on it when it was a baby, and now look at it. It's absolutely exploded around the world. Stardust is where movie and TV fans and all your favorite YouTubers are sharing 30-second video reactions to movies, TV shows, and trailers. Stardust is meant for sharing your raw and unfiltered reaction right when you get done watching something. If you follow us, it's almost like a sneak peek behind the scenes into our movie-going life. We really love it because it's an easier and more meaningful way for us to hear you. We get to see what you guys have to say about the flicks and TV shows you love as well. So join us. Make sure you download the Stardust app and join the growing community that we have right here in Schmoville. And make sure that you guys check out our latest movie review, our latest live show, and you can subscribe right here. He has no idea where he is right now. Split screen, it was kind of fun.
Me too. I think we'll do this again.
All right, well, we'll talk about it.
All right.